We are live. Hello, this is Andrea Woodschmitz with Industry Thought Leaders. Again, we are talking about authority and various strategies that we can use, and today I'm happy to have Courtney Kostelecky. He's been a guest on ours beforehand talking about his book, Chiropractor, Marketing Secrets. And today, though, I have him talking about seminars for your authority marketing in the leadership realm. Courtney has a very interesting history. I've been following him. We've been colleagues for a couple of years now, and so it's been very interesting to see where his new developments are going. And let's say hello to Courtney. Courtney, your turn.
Okay. I'm hearing a recording of you in the background, Andrea.
You'll have to close YouTube or close Google Plus, but leave the Hangout open. You're getting a delay, right? Okay, so Courtney's just closing up some windows there, and so I will say just a few things for him. Right now, he's sitting on an almost freshly released book. It's coming out in about 2 weeks' time. It's called The 5-Star System: Proven Tips, Tricks, and Strategies to Create, Protect, and Market Your Brand and its 5-Star Reputation, which is also a very, very interesting topic for authority marketing. And I think once that book has come out, we're going to have to call him back on the show and hear about that topic. But today, are we ready to go with seminars, Courtney?
We are ready to go with seminars.
Awesome.
Technology is awesome when it works. Or when you know how to use it properly. So yeah, seminars are great. I think anytime the difference between, I think the main differential thing here is seminars, workshops, whatever you want to call them. The nice thing about them and the advantage of them is your marketing and getting your authority out instead of on a one-on-one, presentation. You're marketing and presenting from one to many, whether it's in front of a room of people, on a teleseminar, or even a webinar. So they really position you as an authority. I love them. I've been doing seminars and workshops for, I don't know, 10 or 15 years, I suppose, in various niches. And I've always had good success with them.
So how do you jump right into that? I've never done a seminar. So what would I do first? I mean, I have a topic, but what do I do? How do I find people? Getting a venue, I imagine, is the least of my worries, but getting it filled.
Good questions. And one of the questions that a lot of people have is, they have some knowledge, but maybe they're just not known in their particular niche, or they're just starting a new business, or whatever it might be. So years ago, I was in the financial niche, and I was teaching get-out-of-debt seminars. And one of the things that I did is I partnered with, in the States, we have something called community education. And those are run through the schools, through the school districts, and they're usually held at night, and they have all kinds of different topics. I taught on finance. There are people that were teaching how to tie flies for fishing. There was a lady that was teaching knitting. Just about any topic. And the nice thing about that is they have a built-in audience, and they were doing all the marketing for you, and you'd shared in the revenue. So I was depending on the school system, the school was charging, I think, like $30 for a 3-hour course, and then I would charge a $10 workbook fee. And I mean, there's times when I'd walk out of there with $700 cash for 3 hours, and that's, and for a small room of only, 30 people in the room, 20 or 30 people in the room, that's not too bad. Plus I still had that check coming from the school system later. So that's a really great place to get started.
Okay.
Built-in authority.
Okay, so You just contact the local schools, or you contact the local continuing education department? Would be the school
Yeah,
board that organizes that, basically?
yeah. In the States, it's actually done through the school district.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so yeah, it's continuing education, community education. A lot of colleges also have something like that in their, sometimes it's called adult ed or adult education. And the main thing is they don't really want you to sell hard, but you can, and if you do it right, you can. It's a great way to build a list. And so the only thing that I was selling, it was a workbook, which was mandatory fee. They had to bring $5 or $10 for that workbook, and the workbooks I think cost me like $2 to make or buy. And then I had an optional textbook that I was selling for $30. So yeah, if you have, and it was a great way to get leads and just meet people. Another thing you can do is if you partner with small business association. Um, One of the first seminars that I did for marketing, and I think I got this tip from a gentleman by the name of David Frey, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and I did a seminar, but it was being hosted at the Small Business Administration building, and it was a small turnout. I think it had like 8 or 10 people there, but I closed a $7,000 deal.
Wow.
So yeah, it's not bad.
Okay, so until now we've talked about basically piggybacking off of other people's equity or their list, or the fact that people know that they can get the type of education that they're looking for by
Mhm.
going to the smaller business, what was it, Small Business Association, or going to the continuing education department or adult education department. What about separate from that? Is it? Do you have experience with just organizing
Well,
something?
yeah. You're going to. It depends on the venue. Right now, the industry is. It's hard unless you have a big list and you have a big following. Um, it's a struggle to fill a room of even 100. And so pricing needs to come into consideration. Are you going to be doing a free seminar? That's a huge thing there. And even if you are doing a free seminar, um, you need. Dave D told me this. You need to sell free. Even though it's free, you need to sell it as hard as you were selling a $1,000 ticket seminar. You just need to. So you need to pile the typical bonus piles on if you can, just to get people in the seats. And it also helps if you have some sort of a back end in place. You're just not, whether it's a consultation for other services or whatever it might be. So you really need to sit through and plan, what happens when they buy, what happens when they don't buy, what do and what's your end goal. One of the things that I've seen work really well, it's a free seminar model with a $97 or $50 deposit. So they will pay a $97 or $50 deposit to attend your free seminar. So now they have skin in the game, so they're going to show up. If they don't show up, the terms are you lose your deposit, and then they will get their deposit back at the end of the seminar or when they show up to the seminar. But
Right.
what you can do is when they register, you can say, okay, look at, we are going to have some speakers. There are going to be some products for sale, and we're going to give you, a coupon good for $200. So if it's 97, they get a coupon good for $200. If it was $50, they get a coupon good for $100. And so they're doubling their money on their investment if they choose to, use that to invest in some of the materials that are going to be available at that particular venue. If
Okay.
not, they can turn it in for cash at the end.
cash at the end. Okay, so that's one way to guarantee cash flow.
Hmm.
Okay, so if I were to be organizing this, let's say I'm the middle person and I'm to organize this for a client of mine in a
Okay.
webinar type of a setup, what I want to have then is I want to have a solid understanding of their funnel,
Right.
of what they can, what they're. I'm coming from classic online, right? So the
Right.
online is thinking, what's the free report that they can download? And that would be your seminar, so to speak. What's
Right.
the content that you're giving them when they show up? Which is going to hopefully entice a certain percentage of people to come in. I'm assuming, let's just take the 80-20 rule. So
Hmm.
20% of the 100% that's there are going to actually be the ones that purchase something, and 20% of that 20% are going to be my upsell. So I can project, so to speak, if I can get so and so many people in the room, that I can get a certain amount of money if I understand the numbers game and the financial game. So I understand how I want to price my products, but I can also put that against the cost of putting on the production. Those are the two things that are
Right.
risks.
And that can be a substantial investment. Um, I was looking at doing a marketing event here in Puerto Rico, and to put on that event, it's probably going to be anywhere from ten to $15,000. There, and that's a big investment. So that's why you can start off with some of these other smaller venues where you don't have that big eh, money thing hanging over to you. Locally, you could probably rent a room at a hotel um, for for around $500 to $1,000 for a day. You can do half-day seminars, get the price down there. Another thing that's really great to do too is if you can partner once again with like the Chamber of Commerce, or I've known people to even do seminars in basements of churches.
Okay. Yeah.
So wherever you can find the venue.
Okay. Golf clubs, for example, golf courses, I could imagine. Off season,
Hmm.
like, when the golfing
Yep.
season's over, then they have a big
Yep.
clubhouse, for
Yep.
example.
Yep. So you talked about doing a seminar. So we were talking about the traditional, seminars where people go to a room, sit in something like that. So you're talking about another type of seminar, online seminars, teleseminars or webinars, and those are great venues too.
Okay,
You
I'm experienced with a webinar, but this whole teleseminar thing, can you just blitz us through that? Because it's something that I've been very interested in, but I wouldn't have the faintest idea where to start.
Yeah, a teleseminar is basically a phone call where people get on and they dial into a conference line. And it's all done over the phone. There is no online component to it. There's no PowerPoints. There's nothing. It's just strictly, you know,
It's
giving.
oral. There's no
Yeah,
visual. Okay.
yeah. It's strictly giving a pitch. And Dave D has taught me a lot about teleseminars and how to do that. For people that don't know who Dave D is, he's the Chief Marketing Officer of Glazier Kennedy right now. I've known and I've followed Dave for many years from my days as a magician. That's how I started with him. But yeah, one of his first clients actually sold over $100,000 on a teleseminar.
Wow. Okay, so that's the power of the spoken word, which I would need to cultivate a little bit more before I got to that point. That's that's super fascinating because I work very much. I'm a visual. Actually, I'm a tactile person. If I can
Right.
touch things, I'm doing much better. And so it's orally. I know I've improved a lot.
Hmm.
The more you study marketing and copywriting, for example, the more you start to think in a different way. And different structures and with the communicating, but boy, to get to that point where I'm able to orally throw something out there that would compel anybody to purchase something would be so. But wait a minute. All right. So we've talked about piggybacking off of someone else's list, as in going
Right.
with a continuing education, and perhaps using that to build your own list. And of
Right.
course, and we didn't discuss this, but of course, I would think that referrals would also play a role in regardless, in any of your marketing, referrals should be playing a role. But once you take off and you move out to yourself and you're using your own lists, I'm assuming you cannot. This is a prejudice for me then, or an assumption that I would have. You can't sell anything on the phone unless you already have a pre-existing relationship with the people, right? Or do you get people on a cold call?
Yeah, it's for a seminar. I mean, you're warming them up a little bit. You've got you know maybe you have some teaser calls beforehand or whatever. But for the most part, a lot of the people they're new to the list. So another thing that I'm going to be testing, and it's Frank Kern does this with great success. Although he has a pretty good following and a pretty good list built up too. Is instead of doing free seminars, I'm actually going to be doing paid seminars. So what I'm going to do is have the free report where they download it, and then in a autoresponder sequence, pitch a paid seminar, and the seminar is going to be, like $7, $9, just a really low price point. And then on that seminar, which you can make them evergreen through Run, Click, Instant Customer has that. Evergreen seminars. There's a bunch of different. You can even do it with Google Hangouts. Just run that perpetually, and just have a really good close where you're closing them on, the first step of your funnel, a consultation, or whatever it might be.
Okay, so basically it's going to come down to understanding who you are and what you offer, understanding the people you need to target. So those are basic marketing premises that you have to have. It's also you're going to get, regardless of whether you do free or paid, or whether you piggyback off someone else's list or build your own, it's coming down to your funnel at the end of the day to take whatever that first investment in, be it time, as in a free webinar, or actually cash, as in a paid webinar of some sorts, and could involve travel or whatever. You're still going to get your most out of it by understanding the 80-20 rule and making sure you do have a funnel to pick up those 20 extra who would actually give you more money. So it's solid marketing that we have to have along with seminars. What kind of businesses would you say are totally ready for seminars, to even think about it, but they don't usually think about it? Let's throw out some possibilities out there. Let's get some people who are listening thinking about, well, could this be something for me?
Throw out a local business.
Oh, I don't know. I'm thinking Baskin Robbins right now, which is so the ice cream parlor, or a hairdresser, or a tax attorney. I mean, three totally different types of services. Or products out there.
If you were the owner of like a Baskin Robbins or a local ice cream parlor, you could do a seminar where, hey, we make all our ice cream from scratch or whatever it might be. We're doing a free seminar. We're charging a $5 materials fee, and you're going to, at the end of the class, you're going to have your own, gluten-free sorbet, because gluten-free is the big key now. Although there's not a lot of wheat in ice cream.
But that's a unique selling position that nobody's probably pulling out of there. That's a great idea. Actually, that's a really good idea. Okay.
If you're a plumber, what you can do is you can do a workshop or seminar on 10 simple you know things that you can do around the house and save yourself my $75 an hour fee. You can show them how to stop a leaky, a leaky toilet.
Isn't that great?
One of the things that I learned years ago is if you ever had a leaky faucet that just kind of the drip 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 drives you crazy, you just take a piece of string, tie it around the faucet, and then the water droplet will go down the string all the way, and it won't plunk and drop. And so it's not stopping the leak, but it's keeping your sanity until you can get in and tighten that down. So you can do that. Um, one of my clients is a chiropractor, and he's had great success um, doing public workshops. He'll go into um, workplaces and do work safety workshops.
Okay. Yeah.
He'll do regular workshops on on health and wellness, and he'll get on average 40, 50 people, and he has them at a church, and he has Costco come in and provide some healthy, organic celery sticks to munch on and stuff like that. And the Costco lady is selling memberships there too, so she's, getting something in return. And he usually gets 20 or 30 new patients out of those seminars that he does every
That's
time.
excellent. When you were talking about the plumber, I thought this was a great pitch, especially if you target a very specific demographic, like single women over 40 or something like that, who feel like totally lost or whatever at being able to do things on one thing, but to also say 10 tricks to save yourselves each time. My $75 an hour fee, and the seminar only costs $50. So you just saved yourself $725 on potentially 10 things that happen. So it's a great way to position. I see we're moving into also copy and understanding how to actually position your webinar, your
Right.
seminar, with and put it into the right context into reaching your market. This is a very, very interesting topic, and I think it is so
Yeah,
interdisciplinary.
the point that I wanted to make is it doesn't make any difference what business you have. Um, yeah, the main point I wanted to make is it doesn't make any difference what business you have. Like we talked about, the ice cream parlor owner, the plumber, the chiropractor. Um, this will even work if have a tradition, like a home-based business in network marketing. Um, I've known people that have built organizations up um, to tens of thousands of dollars in monthly recurring income from doing seminars. Um, yeah.
Okay, one final question I'd like to ask you, because I
Sure.
think we could talk about this for a few hours, but
Mhm.
if there was one person to study who really, really gets seminars for authority-based leadership training kind of a thing, who would you follow? Who would you suggest? Look, there's a lot of good things out there, but you should follow.
Well, the main thing is with a seminar, you just can't kind of put it willy-nilly together. If you want to have a good back end in place, you really need to study copywriting,
Mhm.
and you really need to have a good pitch in place. So one of the a great person overall in general who does a lot of seminars and helps other people build their business is Joel Bauer.
Joel
Um,
Fowler. Right,
yep,
taking notes.
yep. And of course, Dave D. Dan Kennedy. They're great people. Um, it's the main thing is the close, and just really need to study that. Orland Claflin's Pitch Anything book is also another really good book. And if you haven't read the 80/20 principle by Perry Marshall, you need to read that. It's really going to enlighten you on to what people will pay once they're in your funnel.
Yes, and I think that it's a very he really makes you aware of the fact that what you're doing is really just the tip of the iceberg, and often we just don't even realize that there's this huge mass below that we're totally neglecting often. We're hopefully not doing that, but as people trying to market things online, we often forget those details. Yeah, good.
Yeah, no matter what business that you're in, it's you can put together a seminar, and if you're, I know a lot of people there. I'm afraid of speaking in public. I'm not a good public speaker. There's a lot of things you can do. You can actually, if you want to go the webinar route, you can actually pre-record those webinars and have them evergreen, and that way you can sit there and record it and tweak it, and even if it takes you 3 weeks to get it down where it sounds okay to you, then go ahead and do that. Otherwise, Toastmasters is a really good place to learn public speaking. And one of the best places to learn public speaking and things like that is if your city has an improv group, take improv lessons.
Okay. So my being totally out of the North American context, improv is a comedy track.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the show?
Anything at the Improv? That's what.
Yeah. Well, have you ever seen the show Whose Line Is It? Anyway.
No.
So basically, how improv comedy works is you have 4 or 5 people who are the improv people, and people from the audience will throw out a situation.
Really?
It's like door-to-door spam salesman.
Wow.
Right, and then they have 30 seconds to create a 3-minute sketch on the fly of being a door-to-door spam salesman.
Okay.
And
No, I totally.
So yeah.
If anything's going to teach you how to think on your feet, I guess something like that would. Yes.
Yeah, and and they're fun to watch. And just as far as getting you to think quick and just think differently, they're great strategies.
And to get over your shyness, that's true in a fun way. All right. Well, this has been great. Courtney has actually a couple of books coming out, and I'm going to repeat what we said at the beginning because it's important. I think you're going to hear a lot about reputation management because that's turning into reputation management and authority positioning are 2 very strong holds that are going to help you become a stronger leader. And the 5-star system, proven tips, tricks, and strategies to create, protect, and market your brand and its 5-star reputation will be coming out in 2 weeks from Courtney Kostelecky. I'll have a link down below where you can find more information as it becomes available to us. But thinking of this and thinking of how to use your knowledge to bring it into the seminar scene, to bring your ability just to communicate with other people about your brand. A seminar has the opportunity to actually put your face out there, and not just your speaking and your words, but your energy and your passion can really come out. That's why I still have a hard time getting around the telemarketing because there's no face to it and there's no visual.
The teleseminar?
The teleseminar, yeah, exactly. But anyway, so I would like you to consider, listeners, I'd like you to consider seminars and how could you use this to pull out your authority. Thank you very much to Courtney for showing up today, and best wishes, Courtney, for you and your new launch and your new book coming out. Also, Courtney's book, and another book will be coming out, I believe, at the end of the month of October about Puerto Rico and how to migrate. there? And
That's later. I actually
okay,
the book that's coming out beforehand. It's actually called Puerto Rico Travel Secrets, and I wrote this book originally in 2008 after I came here on vacation, and I recently got with Reputation, a 1-star review on Amazon about my book, saying that it's no good and some of the stuff is outdated. And it's like, yeah, it was written 6 years ago, and a lot of the places that I talk about are out of business. So
it's your fault.
it's the economy. It's my fault. So,
Yeah.
but now I live here. I'm adding some new adventures and uh, updating that. So I'm really excited about that.
Okay, yeah, so you will be able to find some books by Courtney Kostelecky. Again, also the Chiropractor Marketing Secrets, not just for chiropractors. Really, there's a lot of solid marketing information in here. And if you're thinking of doing seminars, this is going to have a lot of information about how to position yourself and how to use things like funnels and understanding exactly how to get your head around everything together. You're going to find also information in that. And we're holding out for the seminar book, hopefully, huh? Can we hope for a January publication or something like that? I'll keep on top of Courtney as far as that's concerned, and we'll call him back to the show. Thank you very much for your time today, Courtney, and for sharing a little
Welcome.
bit about seminars and encouraging us that anybody can do a seminar, really. And yeah.
Yeah, I want to throw out one other thing. So we talked about teleseminars. There is a service called freeconferencecall.com.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally free. They will actually record um, the the call for you, and so now you have an info product that you can market as a DVD or a CD or a direct download. And the nice thing about that is you can truly offer scarcity because they will allow 100 people on the call.
And it's international. I've actually used that here in Germany and talked to people. I had a conference call with people in the United States on a couple of occasions. And you just get, each country has their different phone numbers that you would call in to that one specific conference call. And it is truly a very fascinating medium. And you can sign up for it for free, and you can
Yeah.
test it out with your friends or your grandmother or your neighbor. You don't have to, it's not like a hangout. You can't do a hangout on air without it being on air and people seeing you. And
Right.
so if you're nervous and you want to practice and get working on this, just get it recorded. What you're talking about, you can pitch it to someone who'll just sit there and listen or ask questions. It's a great, actually, it's a great tool.
What I used it for years ago, before you had the Hangout technology, is every year, me and my buddies, we get together for a holiday celebration, and throughout the years we all become scattered along. And so what we did is we would all dial into the free conference call line at a specific time, and we would do a virtual present opening and just do it that way. So that was really, it's a great service for, just getting together with friends and family too. If you don't have, the Hangout technology, which we do now, but years ago it wasn't around. So yeah.
Okay. So, but also with the very fact that we've all got phones. Pretty much everybody's got a phone in their pocket these days.
Hmm.
So the teleseminar is actually something I should look a little bit more into deeply. And it's something that even the busy business owner who's really sitting there is the face of the company, the brick and mortar guy, the ice cream maker, for example, they can actually quickly use that and practice it, but also work with it.
Right, without getting hung up on the technology.
Exactly. Okay.
And I don't know if I think it was Dan Kennedy that said it. I got it from Dave D. But good enough is good enough. Not saying to be lazy and do a crappy job, but don't get hung up on the details. Just get it out there and just do it, and then you can always adjust and tweak it as you go along. But just
Okay.
get to the money fast.
All right, so I'll put in the bottom in the description of this as well later. Also, the link to the to the conference call, we conference call link as well, so that you can look at that and you can test it out for free. It's a little bit easier than getting on a Hangout, so don't get hung up on your Hangouts. Don't worry about that. But also, it could just simply be a great first step towards getting to your own seminar, and because I think also the energy that you have at the seminar, if you're actually teaching, I think I would quite enjoy doing that kind of. I enjoy teaching, so I think that would be something that I'd really enjoy getting into. All right, so thank you very much, Courtney. It's been a pleasure to talk with you. I'm glad to know that a plumber, an ice cream maker, and there was one other one, the chiropractor example that you have.
Chiropractor, hairdresser,
the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, that you can actually find a way to introduce more information to your ideal target audience through the power of seminars, starting with something as simple as continuing education and moving right up to your own actual venue and your own filling of the room yourselves. So it's not something you'd necessarily want to go alone. We'll have some links at the bottom of this webinar by the end of the day, so you can check out those books that Courtney suggested, and I've read them also. I've read the 80-20 and I've read Pitch Anything, and both help very much. So thank you very much, and we look forward to you joining industry thought leaders in our continued series on authority and what you can use to increase your authority towards your ideal customer. And that was Courtney sharing with us about seminars. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
All right, thank you. See ya.